Hello and welcome again to Kopites Calling with Dave and Nick. Today we will be taking a long look at the Liverpool Manchester City game that was played at Anfield in Liverpool. The drama in this game, Nick, just incredible. I mean, the game that we were playing for in this particular situation, the swing and points, if we tied the game, we were going to be in second place due to goal differential to Arsenal. Winning the game puts us ahead, in first place with 66 points, and the loss would have dropped us to third. So there was everything to play for in this game, and I mean, I'm still just kind of coming down from what we just witnessed. Let's go ahead and move into the lineups. Nick, what kind of lineup did the Reds come out with today?
Yeah, Dave, absolutely. Starting from the back, we had Kelleher retaining his position in net with a back four of Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Bradley, and Gomez. Moving into the midfield, we had Endo, Maka, and Soboslai. And then our front three was Darwin, Harvey Elliott, and Luis Diaz.
When you look at the lineup, my first thought is, what a stage for Jarrell Kwanzaa and Connor Bradley to be thrown into. You're playing Man City in a pivotal title run game, basically at Anfield, and you got these two young guys thrown in there due to injuries. And wow, I mean, I'm sitting there going, I can't imagine what these young men were actually thinking.
Exactly. I think it just goes again to show Klopp's trust in them. I think you would agree this is bigger than the Carabao Cup final game that they played at Wembley. So this game meant more to everybody. So for Klopp to trust Kwanzaa and Bradley, it just goes to show that the confidence he has in those players, because we did have the big names on the bench. I mean, we can obviously get into that, but you know, there is a pecking order for positions, and I'm sure Klopp has one. And Trent wasn't available, or in Bradley's right there. Robbo was available, but on the bench, so we went with Gomez at the left. And then with what happened to Konate midweek, Kwanzaa is the next man up. I mean, there's a many different variations to the lineup that Klopp could have went out, but we obviously aren't the coach. We can talk about the variations he could have went out for, but this is what he chose. And yeah, biggest games of their career so far, their young career so far.
And as the game unfolded before us, we were seeing a little bit of calm defending by Liverpool early. Their high press was definitely being used. You could see it. That's the game plan. That's what Klopp does. Again, Kelleher sharp early. And my opinion of what I was seeing was in the early stages, City definitely had us on our heels. They were kind of dictating the game a little bit to us. And I think that came from their control of the midfield early.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it was City's game, I guess you could say, in the first 15, 20 minutes. They weren't really creating many clear-cut opportunities with the ball. So, yeah, they had more of the ball, absolutely. I would agree with that. As a fan watching, I was nervous with how comfortable they grew into the game immediately. I was like, we could be in for it because of the younger-ish squad that we have with the players missing. City would have thought this was their opportunity to come into Anfield and get something. So I agree that, we were on our heels for the first, 15, 20 minutes or so. But then we just really, really solidified our stance in the game. And I'm sure, we'll get into it. But I do agree that City was on the front foot, but not for long, in my opinion.
Yeah, Bradley looked a little shaky to me. Just as the game started, Bradley looked a little shaky. Kwanzaa seemed to kind of settle into it a little quicker. But I thought overall, about the 15th minute, Liverpool started finding their footing. They started kind of, they had taken a couple of the little jabs, or whatever you want to, using a boxing term. They took a couple of little jabs that City was throwing at us. And we started just kind of, then we moved into how we play and that was around the 15th minute. And then we had an offside call, but you could see that the Reds were starting to find the channels.
Yes, one of many offsides calls. I'm sure we'll get into that, but it was very much in City. Like I said, City knew. If you're City, in your Pep Guardiola, you see Connor Bradley starting. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to target him. He's a young kid on the biggest stage of his career so far. Did he struggle at first? A little bit, but I think when the rest of Liverpool grew into the team, I mean, we saw what Connor Bradley's capable of. I mean, he really is a player that I'm so excited for the future because if he's able to do it against City, which I think again he started off a little bit slow, but when he grew into the game, I mean, he caused the problems that we've seen him cause in his appearances for us. Kwanzaa as well. I mean, it's just insane that how whenever Liverpool are able to start dictating the game, how good everyone looks. I mean, obviously it's a team sport, so that's how it should be. But they seem like they're always clicking whenever we get going. And that only takes 5-10 minutes of just keeping the ball. Not even that. City had so much of the ball in the first 15 minutes, like we were talking about, but all it takes is for a couple minutes, string together a couple passes, which is what Liverpool started doing. Like, all right, we have the ball, let's start to go, and we saw that. We definitely started. The game became more open. It wasn't just City pressing us. The game became a lot more open.
Well, I mean, tell me, Nick. I mean, what I was seeing early was we just kept trying to long ball it down to Nunez and just kind of kept trying to force that thing to happen. I saw at least 3 or 4 times where we were just so the ball's in the air, the ball's kind of flying around. We didn't really have control of the ball to actually possess it. And once we started possessing that, that's when I think you saw a little bit of shift in how everybody was playing.
I agree. I think we did use the long ball a lot in the first half, and the main reason that could be is because sometimes you have to just release pressure that way. And with Nunez's pace, we're always going to try that, right? I mean, it started getting a little bit predictable with how many
Yes,
times we were trying to do it, and that
great
was the
word.
frustrating part because Darwin, he's a center forward. His favorite thing to do is to be on the back shoulder of defenders, right? So he's always going to be willing to make that run. But then whenever you're doing it consistently, it becomes very easy to defend.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And again, I think part of that was just because of City's pressure. And Van Dijk and Kwanzaa in our back line were thinking we just need to release our pressure to give us a breather. And what are they doing? They're going for Nunez in that situation is to go, you play long. And similar to Liverpool, City also play with a high line. I mean, the way these two teams play is very similar to one another, which is I hate to say it, but it is. They like to take chances from their back line forward. So I'm sure that Klopp saw that as an opportunity as well in the pregame speech. Is like, hey, sometimes you got to test the legs of the center backs. With Darwin's pace, why not send a couple of those balls over the top? But I do agree, it got a little repetitive.
It just to your point, Nicholas. I mean, it was just the predictability of it. I mean, it was almost like, okay, here it comes again. Okay, here it comes again. Sitting there watching it, I'm going, okay, let's just kind of control the ball out of the back and let's try that for a while. And everybody will settle down then.
Agreed. I agree.
Yep. And then, on a corner, I mean, 24th minute, a nicely taken corner by De Bruyne. A little side note for me, I still think De Bruyne is one of the best midfielders in the world. It's a shame that he plays for City, but that guy is just he has been that player for years, and he delivers a ball that Stones goes near post and puts it in. Now, looking back at it, I thought that it was pretty shambolic defending by Nunez. He just totally lost Stones. I don't know how by the time he reacted to where Stones was, the ball's in the back of the net.
Yeah, it was a very against the run of play goal, which was very upsetting because I think when Liverpool grew into the game, like we alluded to, when they did, we were the better team. And yes, fine margins, we were the better team. But I thought, had that goal not gone in, we would have found at least an opportunity ourselves. But when a goal comes in like that, it's kind of deflating. Set pieces for Liverpool has never been a strong suit when it comes to defending. I don't know what it is, but it's I don't know if they don't spend enough time in the training grounds, but here's the question I have for you, Dave, and it's maybe me being biased because we've seen this being. Am I wrong, or did Nathan Ake do exactly what Endo did in the Carabao Cup final, and the goal was called back for? Because Nathan Ake set a pick on McAllister and pushed him back, which then led the lane open for John Stones to come in and tap the ball into the net. So when are we going to decide? When are we going to decide if this is actually a foul we're going to start calling consistently or not? Because again, this is maybe me nitpicking, or maybe you don't agree at all, but that's exactly what happened. There was a pick being set again. It's the same exact thing that happened in the Carabao Cup final. So I don't know. The referees today, we can get into it more, but I don't know if you saw it as well, but I was extremely confused. That's not taken away from how smart the play was on the set piece. You can tell they trained that, rehearsed that on the training ground, and Nunes did lose his marker. But there was a pick being set by Nathan Ake in an offside position. So where's the consistency?
Yeah, you saw exactly what I saw. I mean, Ake, it was almost like he gave a hip check and a push with his upper body to knock McAllister back.
Yep.
I mean, it wasn't just a little nudge to McAllister. It was the whole right side of his body is going to knock McAllister back. It's the same thing. Refereeing to me has just become, with the level of play of these players throughout the league, the refereeing has not kept up with what these guys are capable of doing.
No, no.
It's
They need,
it's
yeah.
it's diminishing to me. It's diminishing the whole value of the league, because every game there are calls that are just blatantly missed.
It's when the season ends in beginning of May. Something needs to happen. They need to go back to the drawing board in the off season. I don't know what that would look like. I'm sure nothing will ever happen, and we'll have the same issues next season as we are having this season. I've just never been a part of a season like this at being a supporter. I mean, yeah, well, since VAR has come into play, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's done more harm than good. I think you can agree. We all thought it was going to do more good than harm. So it doesn't make any sense, because when are things going to be consistently called that we're seeing in other games, right? Consistency is the main word here. And there's just a severe neglect for these things that we're seeing on monitors that you guys are paying for referees to use at the game. So it's like we can see it as fans, right? And you have the opportunity as the center ref to go look at it, and you're not. It's and we'll get into it in the second half as well. But I'm running out of words to say. It really is making the league that is the best league in the world hard to watch. I mean,
Absolutely.
I struggle to watch other games besides Liverpool games, because I think there's just a lack of excitement, and then the refereeing is going to be bad. It's terrible.
When you start looking at who the referees for your games are going to be, and you start recognizing referee names, I mean, God, when did that ever happen? I mean,
Yeah,
you sit there and go, okay, Holland's playing against us. Ake's playing against us. Oh, Ederson's in goal. Oh, crap. Michael Oliver's the referee.
yeah. Howard Webb's the referee, or
Oh,
not even. I don't even think he's the ref anymore. But you know
yeah,
what I mean? Yeah, you
yeah,
start to recognize these names. You're like, oh,
yeah,
Michael Oliver, same guy that made the same mistake, or whatever. Whenever
yeah,
ago. It's just, it's crazy.
yeah, yeah. As Nigel says in Spinal Tap, it's a joke. It
Exactly.
absolutely is a joke. I mean, that this is what's happening here.
Yep.
So 31st minute, Soboslai just got it wrong. I mean, it was a wonderful opportunity to put the ball in the back of the net with his head, and his timing was off, and it just went off the top of his head. That's a tough play. It's a really tough play. Um, I can't really get on him too badly for that, because it's all about the timing of it.
Yeah, I think that he has to target at least. He has to make the keeper make a stop, and you know, before there was a couple. I don't know. It's hard to. It's frustrating because we really after that goal, we woke up more, and then we had opportunities, especially that one. And yeah, was it an awkward ball with the head? Maybe I don't know, but I think that you have to make a keeper make a play there.
Agreed. Agreed. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt because it was, it was happening really, really, really fast. But I do think he needs to make a keeper do something there.
Agreed.
Um, what I was seeing as this was going on and progressing, I was seeing that, you know, Liverpool, Bradley, we were finding a lot of joy going down the right side with Bradley going down there. Just he was kind of menacing down there going down the right side, and we were just kind of starting to. You could see the shift was happening. You could see that Liverpool was, we were down a goal, granted, and we were pushing, but we were starting to really push City. And
Yeah,
then Nick, you get this. What else can we say about Virgil van Dijk? 1-on-1 with Holland, and just fantastic defending, in my opinion.
yeah. I want to go back. I'm glad you pointed out the right side as being an area of joy for us. I think what we were seeing is because of Harvey Elliott's lack of pace, and I think Elliott played well today. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Because of his lack of pace, though, what I think we were doing is we were having Harvey drop a little bit and having Bradley. We're giving Bradley the free range, just be like go, because Bradley has pace. He's a very quick youngster. I didn't realize how fast he was, so I saw this game because you kind of saw it a lot of the times where you would see Elliott receive the ball maybe at midfield or whatever, whenever he's on the right side, and Bradley would already be up in the attacking position. Now, that made it a little bit more difficult for Bradley to get back in a defensive position, being the right back, but you can see that that was an area we were exploring, and we had some joy down that side because Bradley was able to get up into those attacking positions and cause problems. There was one opportunity. Bradley played a great ball, after he sent Nathan Ake the wrong way. And it was unfortunate. It was just a little bit too much on it. And Nunes just tried to get onto it, but he couldn't. So I think that we found joy a lot on the right side. I think they had a good understanding of how we're going to utilize Bradley in the situation because he is quicker than Elliott. And we saw Elliott take the chance to be like, all right, Bradley's going to be the guy going forward. I'll drop. I'll be available for the support, and then we'll go from there. Van Dijk, though, to your point, I don't even know what else to say about the guy. This first half from him, and we'll get into the second. It's just insane that we see this guy week in, week out put on a Liverpool shirt.
Well, we need to sit back and we need to kind of really enjoy what this guy does. I don't think we do because, only thing that people notice is the players going forward and the players that are scoring. But we need to sit there and just revel in the fact that we have Virgil van Dijk as our center half. This guy is he's a superstar in my opinion.
Yeah, this was and he always is a man for the moment. This game today was a big game, and I think he loves big games. You just see it on his face. He doesn't let anything phase him, and he just loves playing in these high stakes environments. And I think it brings the best out of him. Other players would be like extremely nervous, anxious, scared to make a mistake. This guy does not have any of that to his game. It's quite frankly, it's absurd how good he is at soccer at this
Sure.
position.
Sure.
It's just I run out of words to say. We'll get into his performance in the second half as well, but what he did there, Holland had no chance, and then Holland got a shot off. Who cares? That's perfect defending, right? You force
Yes.
them to make a bad mistake. What was
Yes.
the bad mistake? The bad shot.
Yes.
That's all he afforded him to do. People, I'm seeing some people like, well, that was Holland's favorite left foot. Yeah, Holland's a left-footed player, but he's off balance while he's taking that shot. He's off balance because of Van Dijk's defending.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You don't always, as a defender, have to stone cold stop a guy. You have to force a player with the skill level of a Holland to take a shot he didn't really want to take.
Exactly.
So, and the first half comes to a close. Liverpool had a couple other opportunities. I think Diaz needs to score. and Bradley, a little late in the half, needs to take a shot.
Don't
But
know why he didn't shoot. Don't know why he
yeah,
didn't shoot.
yeah. But anyway, first half, winds down, comes to a close. What I saw after the first few opening minutes of the game was a team, that being Liverpool, in control. We For the first half stats, Liverpool had possession 54% of the time. We had the shots were equal, 7-7. They had 4 shots on goal. We only had 1. And interesting stat from the first half: Liverpool did not have a corner the first half. They had 4 corners. We had none.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, looking at the first half, Nick, who was your standout performer?
I know who I want to pick, but I know who it's a. I know who I want to pick, but I'm going to go against that, and I'm going to say Endo for me. I'm, I I don't know if I'm just starting to like this guy, but that first half, right? I mean, Endo is going beat for beat against probably what people consider the best 6 in the world, Rodrigo for Man City, Rodri, as people, and he was almost showing him levels.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Endo to me is a guy that I've switched on completely since the start of the season. I didn't know why we signed him. No one really knew who he was. Man, what he did in this game holistically, but in the first half was it was just crazy. He's not the biggest, but I don't even care. Like he's just such a smart player, and he literally was showing Rodri that, hey man, like you may have the name, you may have the street cred, but I'm here. And it was just an insane performance for Endo in the first half, in my opinion. I think that our midfield 3 cohesively for that midfield 3 of Endo, Maka and Sobo has a very good balance to it because they each have different attributes that benefit each other. But man, I can't watch Liverpool without saying something good about Endo nowadays. So it's Endo for me. I'm curious as to who yours is.
Well, I'm just going to piggyback on what you're saying about Endo. Wow, the discipline that guy plays with, the control that he plays with, he does not rush. He does the right thing 98% of the time. From what I'm seeing, he's laying off the right pass. He's pulling it back and restarting it again when he needs to. He's not forcing anything. He's not playing balls that are just, silly. He's not playing any silly ball. His control, what he's seeing, his vision. He really is a guy that, for me, has allowed Liverpool to move into the team they are right now.
Absolutely.
And this is what I'm going to say, Nick. This is my standout performer of the first half: Virgil van Dijk, Jarrell Kwanzaa, Connor Bradley, and Joe Gomez. The entire back line for me, and I could throw Kelleher in there, but the entire back line of me were standout performers the first half. I know Gomez, people seem to kind of get on Gomez, blah, blah,
They
blah.
can't
Whatever.
anymore. They can't because he's been so good.
But Gomez, to me, Gomez, that whole back line, the way they played with poise, they played with understanding of what they were going to do. They didn't do really any crazy things. They didn't attempt anything crazy. They played within themselves, and I had to give it to that whole unit as
Yeah,
my
I think
standout performance.
I think that it's. I think people can't say anything wrong about Gomez anymore, and they haven't been able to this whole season. Of course, people are like, why did we start Gomez at left back as opposed to, Robbo, who's a natural left-sided, left back? Well, the easy answer is because Gomez has been better this season. I love Robbo. You love Robbo. We all love Robbo. But with his injury and then Gomez stepping up, Gomez is the hot hand, and he just works his ass off. Excuse my language, but
Yeah.
He works his butt off, and
Yep.
that back line is really one that you wouldn't think would have such a good first half, and people will be like, well, they conceded a goal. It was a set piece goal. You know what I mean?
It wasn't in the run of play.
Exactly. So I agree. That back line, it was so stout, so stout.
Yep. So here we go. We're moving into the second half. We're down 1-0. What happens in the 47th minute? Darwin rightfully is rewarded with a PK. I'm going to absolutely, again, ask a very simple question. And my question to you, Nick, is why is that not a red card on Ederson? It qualifies on every level that I can think of. It was a clear goal scoring opportunity. He
Yep.
did not play the ball. He played the man. He was the last defender. That's red card.
It goes back to exactly what we had talked about a couple weeks ago. The goalkeepers are too protected. I don't get it. I really don't get it because you just hit the nail on the head. Ederson's the last defender in that situation. Darwin is in on goal. That is technically an in on goal breakaway 1v1 situation that he has found himself in. And Ederson swings his leg and it makes no contact with the ball.
At all.
I don't get it. I really don't get why goalkeepers in today's game are super protected. It makes no sense. I really don't understand. And it was crazy to me. I mean, we're talking about a game of this magnitude at Anfield, and you can't get a call right like that. And I don't even care about the justification as to why you have to tell me why it wasn't a red for me to understand. You have to tell me why. And it needs to make sense. And I don't even think they did that. Like, you can have the commentators on the game trying to explain it. It doesn't make sense to me because everything that you just said is a red card offense. It really is. In the rule of the game, the rule of the book, is that is you're a referee. You are a referee. You are a referee.
Yes.
That's the rule.
Yes.
I don't get it.
Yes. But we could go on about the red, but Maka steps up again, and I'm gonna say it, Nick. There's not a keeper in the world who's going to stop the PK that McAllister took. That was fantastic. That was drilled to the back of the net. There's not a keeper stopping it.
Yeah, that's a penalty kick that you take every day of the week. I mean, you just don't no messing about. Step up, put it in the spot. See you later. Take the ball. Let's go win the game.
I was waiting for it to come out the back of the net. I mean, he drilled that thing, and that's how you do it. And again, you said it, in a game of this magnitude, you don't do anything silly with that. You put the ball in the back of the net. That's what you do on a PK. There's not very many of those calls going to happen. So you do that. You dispatch it right then. And then I'm sitting there, Nick, going, and there was a little part of me, no, there really wasn't. The keeper that came in for Ederson, I'm going, oh my God, dude, what? I don't know who you are. I don't even care. You're a backup keeper for City. It's got to be kind of daunting coming into Anfield in this game with the level of play that these players were performing at.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be him in that situation. Credit to Anfield today, by the way.
My gosh.
It was people talk about how it's not an ad. Today was Anfield at its true form. I think after you could say after we went down 1-0, you could question it, but after the pen from Maka and it was up 1-1. I don't think they even were silent for a second, and it was an atmosphere and an environment that made City uncomfortable the rest of the game. And yeah, to your point about the keeper, I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, but he came on, and fair play to him. He didn't do too bad.
No, he did okay. He did what he needed to do to preserve the not give up any more than one goal. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but we're moving in the game, and a heavy touch from Diaz in the 59th minute, dude. Oh, Diaz. Oh, we're gonna talk about Diaz. Oh, I don't know what to say.
That's gonna be the one. I mean, Mo came on, and I know that pass. Everything was. I think I was standing up already, expecting it to go in. Those are the moments, and I can't. It's frustrating because Diaz today was so good and so lively, but these are the things that we're just going to remember as fans, and that's probably something we think we hurt right now as fans, which is a joke. We hurt. Imagine how Diaz feels right now. He's probably devastated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know what he was thinking, trying to open up his body and go to the far post. he needs to drag that to his left, go around the keeper, and just tap it into the open net. I don't know. Yeah, it's just fine margins, and that's gonna be one we won't forget, unfortunately.
So well stated. Margins. That's what this game's all about. I mean, it really is, and it's cruel in some regards because of that. And you're sitting there and you're watching, and then in the 61st minute, as a Liverpool fan, I'm standing, I'm applauding Mo and Robbo coming on, and I'm going, what a place for this to happen. What a place. And then almost immediately you get a phenomenal ball from Mo. And again, Lucho just in the 63rd minute just doesn't get it. doesn't get it. It just doesn't hurt. I mean, he doesn't hurt them. That's a put away goal. It's 2-1. See you later. We win the game.
Yeah.
But
my apologies. I guess I was talking about that chance. I forgot what minute it was in, so my apologies.
Yeah.
I fast forward a little bit there, but that's the one that maybe it's because that one's still on my mind that I went straight there because I'm already thinking about it. But again, to your point, I mean, having Mo come on in the 60th minute was the right call because we needed him to come on. It was 1-1. It was a game that was like, okay, get Mo on, get our guy on. Let's make this happen. And like you said, immediately he plays that pass to Diaz. The weight on it, everything was great. And Diaz again, like I alluded to whenever I was speaking about the wrong chance, but then now it's this chance that we're talking about now. I don't know what he was thinking, trying to open up his body to go to the opposite side of the keeper, go around the keeper. It's a shame because Diaz went on after this chance. I'm sure we'll get into his performance to be one of the best performers on the field. But it's these things that we talk about with Diaz's game. He needs to be able to put those away. He needs to. I mean that's, and I'm not trying to do this in a biased fan, but like Sadio Mane is in that position. What are we thinking? My history with Mane is maybe he's putting that away. But so I mean I don't know. Maybe this is me overthinking it, but we're going to think about that chance for a very long time, depending on how the rest of the season goes.
Yes, your point is well. I get your Mane reference. I do, but you recall Mane did very similar type things.
He did, but I feel like
I mean, you did. It was always kind of a which Mane am I going to get here? What's he going to do with this? So they are similar in certain regards, but I can't say for sure that Mane would have put. I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. But what I did know, Nick, was Liverpool. We were rattling Man City. They were a team that did not know what to do. They didn't really. I mean, they were, as far as I was seeing, they were hanging on for dear life. They didn't know what was happening.
Yeah, Dave, exactly that. We're talking about it now, and I'm still super, super frustrated because when we talk about the rest of the second half, that's one of the best second halves of soccer I've seen Liverpool play all season, and it's against Man City. I mean, the fact that we couldn't come away with it's super, super frustrating. I mean, I just everyone was playing so well. We were getting stuck into the challenges. Endo was getting stuck in. McAllister. I mean, the midfield battle in the second half was Liverpool's game. We won that midfield battle.
Absolutely.
And I think part of that is because I don't know why Pep decided to take De Bruyne off, but I'm glad.
Well, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
I felt really good about that.
Yeah, I mean, to your point in the first half, Kevin De Bruyne is the fine margin that if Liverpool had him, I'm sure we would have won trophies a lot more trophies in our cup. Unfortunately, he's a City player. But sometimes you think about like, man, like we had a guy like that in this Liverpool team. Holy moly, he is a difference maker. So when Pep took him off, I was like, all right, let's go, let's win this thing. The midfield battle was Liverpool's. I mean, McAllister, Endo. I mean, we had to drop Harvey back in there. Harvey looked good. I mean, it was so frustrating because we were playing so well. I mean, City. Yeah, we can talk about City's chances that they ended up obviously carving out, but everything was going Liverpool's way except the ball going into the back of the net.
I was okay. At first I'm sitting here going, okay, when we took Sobo off, I'm going, hey, you kept Harvey in because at this particular point and what I was seeing in the game, I thought Harvey was a lot more dynamic than Sobo was. I thought there was going to be a lot more coming from Harvey than Sobo. So I was kind of happy to see him drop into the midfield, and I was okay with it. I was like, "On this is gonna work." And Harvey played a whale of a game. I thought Harvey played well,
Yeah.
and you know, again, we're as the game is progressing, we're watching and we're kind of seeing the game is really it's being played at it looked like it was being played at 100 miles per hour. I mean, it was like two heavyweight boxers in there just throwing haymakers at each other, just trying to figure out who's going to go down. And you know, but what you had said a couple episodes ago kind of stuck in my head, and it was like there were some times where Liverpool kind of let City have possession and back off, and those are those moments where I think you can't continue to press. Then you have to have moments within games where you're taking breathers.
Yeah, it'd be exhausting. And like I had said, I think what Liverpool can do really well is they play the game in increments. They backed off for probably 5 minutes. Okay, well, now we're going to go again for 10 minutes. You know what I mean? We're going to double it. We're going to go again now. They're able to do that, and they've mastered that under Klopp. And I think City just wanted the ball at some point in time because they were like, oh, when was the last, they were probably thinking to themselves, when was the last time we even had the ball or connected a few passes? Because it was all Liverpool. And obviously we get into, the rest of the chance that City had, but it was super, super refreshing to see how well this Liverpool team was playing in the second half when you can still think the fact that we're missing key players.
Yes, yes. And then 76 minute, I just was I was kind of not even thinking this way, and Gakpo comes on for Darwin, and I know you had texted me, and we were kind of chatting back and forth, and it was, at that point we're thinking wrong sub. It should have been Gakpo for Diaz, keep Darwin out there because in a chaotic game, where a game such as what was happening and unfolding in front of us, that's a game where Darwin can put this thing to bed.
Yeah, exactly. I was very confused by it. That's not describing how Diaz played the rest of the
No,
game
no,
because Diaz was the factor the rest of the game.
yes,
But I still think Darwin was the guy that was going to potentially find the winner for us.
yes,
Either him or Mo
yes,
was who I was thinking, or even even McAllister. McAllister found himself in very good positions in the box.
right.
So I was very confused by that sub, and I don't know. I just sometimes you got to keep. I mean, think about what City did. They didn't take Holland off,
No,
so they kept their starting forward on in case that one chance happens.
right.
And I think we had to do the same with Darwin. Instead, we subbed Gagpo on, who we talked about him ad nauseum now, but he wasn't good enough.
Nope. Gakpo played the game Gakpo plays, which is subpar, and it's not what we need, especially in a moment like that, with the
Yep.
stakes as high as they were. Um, you had mentioned earlier, Nick, the game of margins, right? And 89th minute, oh my goodness, City hits the post. And not only did they hit the post, which was, extremely lucky for Liverpool, but the ball bounces off the post right to Kelleher as he's on the ground from trying to make the save that hit the post. So I'm like going, oh my goodness, here we are.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, you talk about heart in your whatever the thing is,
Yeah.
just.
It, it was bad. I mean, it was one of those things where like I was forcing myself to watch this game towards the end because I almost didn't want to watch because of how good Liverpool was playing. The fact that it could have been snatched away from us with a City winner, as a fan, right? It's like one of those things like you want to watch a team play, but sometimes it's like it's too hard. It's like this, because we love the team, we love the sport, and City are known for that, right? I mean, they find a way sometimes. That's what City can do. And I was like, you know, Jeremy Doku is a guy that they bought in the summer, and it hasn't really worked out for him at City so far. But so of course, he comes on at Anfield and gets an opportunity to get the winner. Luckily, it hit the post, and it went straight to Kelleher. I was almost in tears. If, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
As a supporter,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
yeah. To your point, my heart was in my chest. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So luckily, it did not fall their way there,
Yeah.
and we were able to keep them out.
Yeah. And I mean, when he came on, when that player came on, I'm like, man, the first game we played against City, he hurt us.
Yeah, he caused Trent a lot of problems.
Yeah. He was spinning Trent like a top. I mean, he hurt us. And when I saw him come on, I'm like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And then that happens. And then I'm going, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, it's going to fall to us. Maybe this is going to fall to us. The 97th minute, Nick, please tell me what Gakpo was thinking.
I don't know what he was.
Why don't you strike the ball, take a shot against a backup keeper? Anything can happen. And again, a player with absolutely zero confidence playing what he does, which is try to make a pass. Just was the wrong decision.
If I know I don't really play anymore, but if I were to ever play soccer again or go play pickup, and you were there watching me, Dave, if I'm ever making a pass within the 6 yard box to anybody, I want you to tell me to stop playing soccer. You know, I don't care how I don't care how many defenders are around you, right? I mean, it's the same thing that happened. It's the same thing that happened to Diaz's goal against Sparta in the week, right? Defenders were around him. He took the shot. It deflected in because things like that happen. You don't make a pass there. You never make a pass there. I don't know. Mo wasn't ready for no one was ready to take a pass there. And
Right.
by nobody, I mean Diaz or Mo were not in a position to take a shot. The only player that was in a position to take a shot there was Gakpo. I don't get it.
I'll do one better than that, Nick. I will actually, if you ever do that, I will actually come. I don't care if you're playing in a rec league. I will actually come on the field and sub you out myself.
Yeah, I just, and again, we can talk.
I will pull you off the field and take your boots off.
Yeah, and we can say it as fans, but that's one thing you can actually say as a fan and be like, I wouldn't do that because you wouldn't. You know, you wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I just, I don't get it. I was super. That was the moment. That was the moment.
That was the moment.
And we can talk about the end of the game, obviously, because more controversy, of course. But that was the more clear-cut moment right there.
It really was.
Like,
I mean,
that was Gakpo's opportunity to write his name in this team on this title challenge. We would have thought back to Gakpo's winner against City.
Yes, exactly. And then we get to the final play of the game. I don't know how. I don't know. I'm at a loss because if a boot is up around a player's chest and the boot goes through the chest, how is that not a PK? I don't. VAR checked it, and they ruled it off. I don't. Again, we're back to the refereeing. Don't get it. Don't get it. Never will. They can make. I'm sure midweek we'll get a. VAR was wrong, and that should. I'm sure that'll come. We'll get that as a Liverpool fan. We'll get that Wednesday little thing saying they made a mistake.
It's. I just. They didn't even go to the monitor. The referee didn't even go to the monitor. Like, he's getting all in his ear.
Yeah.
He never went up to the monitor.
The booth.
Like,
yeah.
He never went to the booth to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Even if Doku gets the ball, his studs are showing after the play. That's a BS. I don't get it. I really don't get it. And the point of VAR, like we talked about, is to see things that cannot be seen by the naked eye. So you go to the booth, you slow it down in slow-mo, and everything looks worse in slow-mo. Well, guess what? If everything looks worse in slow-mo, don't have VAR. Because it's going to look worse in slow-mo because that is what VAR is made for. So, the studs went into McAllister's chest. I mean, he could have broken a rib. And maybe McAllister will be out for the game on Thursday against Sparta.
Right.
Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand. I really don't understand how anyone in the ear of the referee can say that that was not a foul.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And it's like,
Yep.
and here we are, like, complaining at the end of the game whenever it was one of the best games of soccer I've watched all year, all season is this game.
Yes.
And it comes down to a refereeing decision again. Now,
Yep.
am I going to sit here and say that that cost us the game?
No.
Liverpool did have opportunities to win the
Yes.
game. Okay, so no,
Yes.
that didn't cost us the game.
No.
But the laws of the game,
Back to
I don't
that.
understand. I don't understand how that's not a foul. I just don't get it.
I don't get it.
So
I don't
here
get
we
it.
are again, and
Get it.
I'm sure. Yeah, to your point, they're gonna they're gonna drop some article this week being like, "Well, here's why," or they're gonna be like, "Oh, we made a mistake." Okay,
Yep.
thanks for that. Now we got to
Yep.
play. Again, against Sparta on Thursday, United next Sunday in the FA Cup, then an international break. Then no one will remember it. Everyone will
Nope.
just forget about it. And it's
Absolutely.
just they can scurry off free, nothing. It's sometimes I wish referees would do post game press conferences so that journalists could ask them questions and ask them what were they thinking.
Right. That would be great. So
Yeah.
the game ends 1-1. We, share the points. Liverpool had 19 shots. They had 10. Both teams had 6 shots on goal. In the end, we ended up with 7 corners. They had 4. So after 4 corners in the first half, they didn't have any in the second. So what this does is this puts us in second place at 64 points just because of goal differential against Arsenal. But you're standout performer of the game, Nick.
Before I say my stand-up performer, I want to talk about the corners for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I love Robbo, and I know Trent's not around, but Robbo cannot be taking our corners. I don't know what else we need to do. It's predictable in swinging. It's either too high or it doesn't go past the first man. He does it all the time, and I'm sorry. Robbo's game today, like, I don't think he really fully got into the game. If I'm going to be honest, he was maybe but whenever you're getting corners like this, you need to cause problems at the end of the game. And I think his corners, since he's been taking them with him and Trent, I always look forward to Trent's corners more because I think that they're more accurate. So again, that's besides the point. But when you're in these situations, the service has to be good.
Yes.
So I was a little frustrated in that regard. But Robbo's still Robbo, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. But man, I was wishing that one of those would have landed on the head of Virgil van Dijk, which is a good segue. Because man of the match has to be Virgil van Dijk. This is the greatest center back I've ever watched play the game of football, soccer. I don't understand how anyone can be like, well, I'd like to have seen him play against Didier Drogba and Sergio. Well, he played against Sergio Aguero, so that's not one. But I can play against Cristiano Ronaldo. He's done that. You know what I mean? Like you can give me any name, and I'm sure Van Dijk would have been up to the task of them. He's like, oh, the strikers of the old age would have been able to cause a lot. No. If you watch what Virgil van Dijk did today on this field, clip it, record it, keep this in a classroom that you show young center backs how to play the game, because that was levels. That performance was levels. That was a Ballon d'Or performance. That was a Player of the Year performance from Virgil van Dijk. He was a colossus in every way, and I don't think he put a single foot wrong. He's just insane. He's the greatest center back I've ever watched, and I don't know who else you could say is in that realm right now with him. I mean, I'm sure people will be like, oh, Ruben Diaz or John Stones or City, or they'll say like Saliba on Arsenal, and I'm like, I don't care. Just show them the game against City today and be like, your center back's not doing that. They're not.
Right. Put it in a time capsule. That's a game you put in a time capsule. You come back years later and say, how do you play center back? This is how you play it. He's my man of the match as well. I think what he does to Haaland has never hurt us. If you think about since he's been in the league, Haaland has never hurt us. We don't get hurt by Haaland when we play Man City because Virgil is so immense back there that it has to be Virgil. There is no other player for me that played the type of game that Virgil did today.
Yeah, Haaland did score at the Etihad in the other game, but it wasn't Van Dijk's fault. So that's
right. But
I mean,
he's not. He's been neutralized when he plays against us.
Exactly. No, I know what you mean.
He's not running rampant.
No, and every goal that he has scored against us, which I can only recall the one, but back in the fall, it was never been a complete Van Dyke issue. So it
Right.
doesn't that's totally beside the point.
Right.
And I want to just also say that it could have been any one of McAllister or Endo as well, but Van Dyke has to be the guy for me. It was just truly, and we've already hit it's just one of the best performances I've ever seen. And I'm going to say this because we love watching this sport. I don't know how anyone can say this sport is not entertaining to watch.
Oh.
Are you crazy people? I was getting anxiety watching the second half because of how intense it was. I was literally like, it's people are like, oh, it was just a 1-1 tie. Watch the game?
Yeah.
Like how you can't find excitement in this sport after watching two of the most colossus teams in the sport, Man City and Liverpool, that have grown this rivalry, particularly because of Pep and Klopp. I, every single time we play City, I almost feel like I'm gonna feel sick in the morning because I
Yeah.
just know it's gonna be end to
Oh yeah.
end craziness. But it's
Yeah.
also a good advert for the sport in general.
Yep.
I just cannot, for the life of me, understand those people that say that soccer is not an entertaining sport to watch. It
Yep.
is edge of your seat madness if you have two of the best teams in the world playing against each other.
It's just drama. It's just that drama, and it's always there. And I had written down Endo as well. I could talk about Endo. We already did. We talked about him. Anyway, moving on. Endo was a player easily could have been man of the match for me as well. Now we turn our attention back to Sparta Prague. They come to Anfield. Let's get it done there. Let's just put that game away. Move on in the Europa League, and then get back into our. And then we have the international break. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we have Sparta on Thursday, and then we have FA Cup at Old Trafford on
Yes.
Sunday.
Yes.
So
That's the
that, that
17th.
that
Yes.
that's a biggie
Mm-hmm.
in the sense that it's another trophy opportunity, and we're playing our oldest and most fierce rival on paper is United. Liverpool is the biggest game in England, and then it's international break. Yeah, which
Yeah.
I mean, at this point in time, I feel like is kind of needed for some of
Yes.
our guys. It's kind of needed
Yes.
for some of our guys. It'd be good, good opportunity to get some rested legs. We can
Yes.
finally understand what the heck's going on with Trent, what's going on with the Ebu, what's going on with Curtis Jones, what's going on with these guys. I mean,
Yes.
the only guy I know for a fact that's ruled out for the season for us is Matip because he had his ACL.
Right.
So
Right.
hopefully the international break will bring some clarity around some of our injuries.
Right. Right. All right. Well, that kind of does it for this edition of Kopites Calling. And as always, you'll never walk alone.